Welcome back everyone, this is Mondo all day, back with another video. And in this video, we'll be taking a look at two of Superman villains. We have Metallo here, is going to be from the Gold label, Target exclusive. This is Metallo from the Superman Geoff Johns run, which coincidentally, I just finished reading the Absolute for Superman for Geoff Johns, and what a coincidence, I got this today, and also that's where you see this particular version of Metallo. And of course, the one and only Darkseid, the Mega Fig. As always, I'll be talking about the figures itself in terms of the articulation, sculpture, and paint, and if it's worth the purchase or not. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button to not support the channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So let's take a look at Metallo. So we'll start off with the box. So here's the front of the box. This side, the back, the other side, top, and bottom. And then we'll do Darkseid. So front of the box for Darkseid, the Mega Fig box. This side, the back, which is a very old school Darkseid. The other side, top, nothing, and of course bottom as well. Like I said, 7-inch, but it's not really a 7-inch figure. All right, now let's take a look at each figure outside the box. As always, they do come with a card. The front of the card looks like for Metallo. The back of the card. Front of the card for Darkseid. The back of the card. For Metallo, it does come with accessories, which is one Kryptonite, which is pretty cool to have. You have a Kryptonite now, but there you go. You have Kryptonite as an accessory, which is fine. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I've just finished reading the Geoff Johns Absolute Superman, and what a coincidence, this character comes out, this particular version of Metallo comes out in it. But anyways, here's Kryptonite. And for Darkseid, it comes with additional hands. So it comes with this pointy hand. Really, really long pointy hand, but big hand. And a right fist. And it also comes with an additional headpiece. And that headpiece, it is solid looking. Just look at the paint. The blue paint looks nice. Some scuff marks right here in the back. Not much to it. But that facial expression looks mean. I'm a sucker for white eyes, but the red eyes do look menacing. And of course, it's Darkseid. He has to have the red eyes. Then you have the shadowing around the eyes as well too. Then you got all that crease on his skin. Looks really nice. And of course, the really, really thick eyebrows. Look at those eyebrows. Really, really thick. So, Darkseid does come with his extra headpiece. And they both come with puck stands. Now, let's take a look at Metallo. We'll start off with the articulation. So, head, left, right, up, down, shoulder, bicep, elbow, wrist. Ooh, if I can get wrist, which I think I can. It does articulate, mine's a little stiff. There's that. Torso. Swivel. Then we do leg. Knees. Ankles. A bit limited because it is hit right here. And also on the back. And toes as well. So overall, the articulation on this figure, it's good overall. Now let's talk about this figure. And yes, if you're wondering, Mondo, why does it look familiar? It's because, well, it is a kit bash from another figure like this, which I'll show you in a bit. But we'll start off with this headpiece. The headpiece looks really, really good. I do like the teeth on it. You can see the teeth. I thought it was going to be actual a sticker, but it's actually not. You can actually see a little bit of definition in it, right? The bright teeth, a little bit of skin tone. And of course, you got the creepy eyes looking at you. Then you have the mask on there too. I do like how these bolts on there, which looks really, really nice. Especially with that lime green. It just pops. And the back's going to be a pearl green paint. And so, the headpiece itself, I gotta say, it looks really good. Very similar to the comic. It's not 100%. Well, in terms of the headpiece itself, I would say, yeah, it definitely looks a lot like Metallo from the comic. And so the headpiece itself, I gotta say, It looks really good. That green paint, though, the green paint does stand out. It has a nice little bit of pearl to it. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. So when you have a light on it, it does pop. And of course, when you look at it in the front, it's just kind of creepy looking, having that mask in the front, right, with the bolts on the side. And here we have the arms. Again, similar to your previous figure, which I'll show in a bit. I don't want to say it's identical, but it's very, very, very similar. So you have this kind of design here on the arms, also present here on the bicep, and of course the tricep as well, the little design. Then you have this other design here, like a little armor piece. Then you have the forearms on here, a little sculpture design there. Then you have the hands, right, just red. But again, similar green paint that's on here, also present here on the arms, which I like and makes the figure pop more. And the other side is going to be pretty much identical, that nice bright green, pearl green I should say. And then you have here just like a regular hand. You can see a little bit detail on the hands itself. Then you have here the upper torso. You have the little Metallo symbol on here, which it is different from the comic, or from the art I should say, because the art looks like that, right? And then this is that. It's not a deal breaker, but people have said, like, wait a minute, does it look similar? Which you're right, but it is what it is, right? But it still looks cool though overall. The abdomen, weird design on the abdomen. Then here is going to be the side of the abdomen, the obliques. Little sculpture design there. And of course the back as well too. Which, as I mentioned, this is a kit bash from another figure, which I'll compare it in a bit to the other one, so you can kind of get an idea how it looks. But it is different. Just some parts are reused, right? And here's more in the lower back. I wish the red had a little bit of maybe black on here. Maybe I can paint this like black or something like that. Just make it pop more. Because having it just all red, you just can't really appreciate all the detail in the sculpture. But if you paint a little bit of gray or black, I think it would have popped very, very well. And here is going to be the front as well too. And so overall, the upper body, I gotta say, it looks really good. That red paint is just kind of blah. But that green paint, the two-tone green, right? You got that lime green. Looks good. But this base green right here, it is definitely a standout. It's a lot better in person. When you saw images of this one, it was fine. But that paint, seeing it in person, does pop. And it gives it the actual pearl look to it. So, if you're wondering, the green paint does make it pop. It's not just a regular green. So, kudos to you, McFarlane, for that. Does he do squats? Yeah, somewhat squats. Here's the back of the legs, and again, similar to the previous figure that we've seen so far. But there's that little design here, similar to that's on the tricep kind of design. Also present here on the inner thigh, and also here on the legs. Here is the back of the boots, or feet, yeah, boots I guess you can say. Again, that red paint, it doesn't look bad, don't get me wrong, but it's so much detail that it overshadows the detail. Similar to the other one, which I'll show in a bit. Just having it just one solid paint, it just doesn't work. You can't really appreciate all the detail. I do like the joint being this kind of green. Little details like that I do like, because McFarlane could have used a red paint, but he actually didn't. He actually had it a green. It just pops a little bit, so thank you McFarlane for that. Here's going to be the front of the shin, front of the feet as well too. And of course, here's going to be the thighs. The thighs, again, is something we've seen before. Right, from another figure. Again, so much detail on the thighs, but again, that red paint, it just overshadows it, so you can't really tell. You can probably paint this like a little bit of black or gray, maybe paint the inner thigh here, a little detail, maybe green, make it pop more. And so, here's going to be the underwear, little design there, lime green, and here's the back of it too. So you get a little detail right there. So overall, gotta say, it is a good-looking Metallo figure. Is it 100% accurate to the image that's shown on the card? No, but just the figure itself, you have to admit, it is a good-looking figure. And so, the detail is there, the paint. I'm telling you, the green paint is a standout. Not the lime green. The lime green paint is fine, but that base green paint right here, it is definitely a standout, especially on the knees on there as well, too, right? And so, overall, great looking figure. Really like the figure. It's not accurate from the image from the card, but it's still a good looking figure though, overall. So to me, I like the figure, and I just finished reading the Jeff Johns Superman storyline, so even more because I appreciate this character a lot more, because if you read that comic, you know what I'm talking about. Now let's take a look at Darkseid. We'll start off with the articulation. So head, left, right, up, down. This is a bit limited. Left, right is a bit limited, unless it's just mine. Shoulder articulation. Okay. There is no bicep, but there is elbow, which if I can get it to articulate, there we go. Oof. It's very, very stiff. Wrist. And then we'll do torso, which is not the greatest torso articulation. There's like hardly any. Swivel, it is, oof, I don't want to mess with it. No, you can't do swivel. Leg articulation, oof. Yeah, you can't really do leg articulation. Knees, ankles, and toes. Oh my god, you can do toes, because mine are very, very stiff. Why? And I don't want to break it, so you can do articulation of the toes, just mine. Well, you can't because it's really, really stiff. So overall, the articulation on this figure, it's not the greatest. The head is limited. Torso is non-existent. There is no bicep. The leg is very limited. So it is a bit of a bummer on the articulation on this Darkseid figure. I say bummer because, man, this is a good-looking Darkseid figure. There's only one problem, which it can be overlooked, but I'll show in a bit. So this headpiece, top notch. When I always think of Darkseid, I always think of him with the Omega beams, and boom, here we have him with the Omega beams. You got the black shadowing around his eyes, similar to the other headpiece. You got those teeth on there, which looks really ugly. He should brush some teeth. Then you have that grin on his face, which looks really, really good. Look at that. The Omega beams are kind of a clear, transparent red. I wish they were more bright red. This is more like a dark red, but it's fine though overall. Then you got that skin kind of design on there as well too. And here's the back of his head. Not much to it in terms of the design, but the headpiece looks really good. This is a more classic Darkseid, which is fine for me, but I'll talk about that in a bit more. But the headpiece itself, I gotta say, it is a good looking headpiece, and for the price for what you're paying, which I'll talk about that as well too, good looking headpiece so far for Darkseid. Then you have the big old biceps and triceps. Damn, thing is huge. Look at that. All the veins on there too. I think it's from the Bane one. I don't have Bane with me, so can't compare it, but I believe these are the Bane arms. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you have this figure, let me know. If these Bane Mega Fig arms, let me know in the comment section. But you got very, very thick ass veins, right? You got that, of course, gray paint with a little bit of like light brown here and there just to make it pop a little bit. Then you have here the forearms, just a very kind of fabric look to it. Then you have the fist, and the other side you get more of the veins slash whatever this is, all the marks on there, right? More of that gray paint with a little bit of light brown. Look at the huge bicep. Then here you have the open hand as well too. And then you have the chest or the upper torso, very defined, very thick muscles. Look at those chests. Look at those abdomen, right? And then you have the Darkseid logo on there, which looks really good. Nice bright silver, and of course this thing right there holds the cape, the wired cape, which I had it mine. I have to correct it or fix it. It's all messed up, but I do like how it's a different type of material on the cape. It's not like typical cape, like Batman cloth cape. It's a little bit different, and I actually like it because it gives it the extra look. When you have a lot in, like I do right now, it makes the cape pop, and it should, because the colors on here, the light blue colors, just pop. And when you have this headpiece, oof, it just pops, man. It really does look good. Here's the back of the upper body. Very thick muscles, as I mentioned, right? And so, overall, what do I think about the upper body on this figure? It is a classic looking Darkseid figure, and McFarlane nailed it. It looks good. The headpiece, top notch. The Omega beams coming out of his eyes just look awesome. I wish we could have maybe like Omega beam adapters. We can make it longer or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. But Overall, the upper body looks good. It is unfortunate of the articulation, but it is what it is. But I'm liking this figure so far. Did he do squats? Oh, heck no. Damn. I guess, pancakes right here. Here's the back of the legs, right? More of that skin tone paint. In terms of the definition, there really isn't. But when you go to the legs, you definitely see the calf muscle on there. Look at that. Very defined calf muscle. The back of the legs, similar gray paint to it. Here's the side of the boots. Big old boots, right? Here's going to be the front. Right, not much to it, just light blue. And then here's going to be the thighs. You can see a little bit of thigh muscle, very defined thigh muscle, right? Same skin tone paint that's on here, also present here on the thighs. And then you have his regular white belt, which is plain, not much to it, right? And so overall, the figure, I gotta say, it's a good looking figure. I like this figure. I do like the whole wired cape. I do like how he has a different material on the wired cape, cape. But there is a bit of a problem. One, the height. This is where I can tell a lot of people are not going to like it. But at the same time, it's understandable because this is a more classic DC Darkseid. So Darkseid from like the classics isn't really that tall. I could be wrong. I remember seeing an episode from that era, I believe it's called Super Friends. And I don't think he was that tall. So there's an exception for that. But it is unfortunate because I like the color palette on here. I do like the figure itself, but the height, I mean, I'll compare it to another one, but the height is not as big. So I always think of Darkseid, I think of him taller and bigger. Well, you can see right there, which I'll compare it to another one, isn't that tall. So it's a bit unfortunate. The articulation is a bit limited, but another thing that you have to worry about, so be cautious when you get this figure, is the arms. Both of them came out. They just popped out of the socket. So when my nephew took this out of the box, he helped me out unbox it. This hand just popped out. Didn't even do anything. It just literally took it out of the box and just popped out. Not a problem. Hot water, put it back on, no problem. And then suddenly I moved this hand, this arm, it also popped out too. So if you get this figure, make sure you get it out the box and check the arms because they do pop out very, very easily. Maybe it's just mine. I'm hoping it is, but just be wary of that. And also, I might get hit on it, but it does feel kind of hollow on there. Watch, I'm going to tap on it. Can you hear that? I'm going to have it to the mic. It's not bad, but it does have a bit of a cheap feeling to it. So be careful, because if you give this to like a nephew, just be careful. A little kid, be careful, because I have a feeling it might break. It's not as cheap feeling compared to another one, but it does kind of feel that way. But apart from that, though, the figure itself, cool looking figure. It's very simple, classic design. Again, this is Darkseid from the, I believe it's like 80s, if I remember correctly. But it's a good looking figure. It's just the height can be an issue for some, and of course the articulation being limited can be an issue for some. But of course, the main question is it really worth it? Should you go out and get these figures? For Metallo, I would say it's a fair price. If it came with an extra pair of hands, yes, I do like that green paint. I'm telling you, that base green paint does pop, and I appreciate it because you can tell it's very good quality paint. Not the best, but you get what I'm saying. But for $23 for what you're getting, just one Kryptonite, it's not the best deal. If anything, I would say maybe wait for a sale. But this is a Target exclusive gold label, so be careful with that. For Darkseid, for $40, heck yeah. Even though I do have some gripes with it, the height, even though I do feel the cheapness in terms of the hollow upper body, even though there's some issues with the articulation being very limited, I gotta say, for what you're getting for $40, it's a really good deal. You get a wired cape, you get an extra headpiece, and an extra pair of hands for $40. I gotta say, I'm really digging this figure. And so for $40 for what you're getting, heck yeah. Regardless of the price, so what I think about each figure, as I mentioned for Metallo, I think it's a good looking figure. The details, articulation is very good. That green paint does stand out. Unfortunately, you get very, very limited accessories, just one Kryptonite. But the figure itself, by itself, heck yeah. Darkseid, great looking figure. The colors, I do like. It's more classic, but I like it. The wired cape, and of course the extra headpiece, which I do like the one that it comes with. The Omega beams coming out. Heck yeah. I'm definitely going to use a different hand. I'm going to use the right fist because I want to have Darkseid having like that fist, kind of like powerful Darkseid. So, Darkseid, heck yeah. So overall, what do I give each figure? Each figure, to me, gets a thumbs up. They're both are good looking figures. Some do have its issues. Great articulation. The paint's really good. Just accessories for what you're getting is not the greatest, but it's still good overall. This one, articulation is very limited. The height and the cheapness and the upper body, it's like, but for what you're getting for $40, right? The extra headpiece and a pair of hands, you can't deny it. For the value for money, it's a really good deal. Once again, they both get a thumbs up for me. Here we have two different Darkseid figures, Omega figs. Here we have Darkseid from the Zack Snyder Justice League movie, and of course, Darkseid, the more classic. To mention the height, just look at the height difference. This one's a lot taller. Also, the detail is way, way better on this one compared to this one. But again, this is a more classic looking Darkseid. So, now the question is, which one's better? Well, it really depends on you. If you like more traditional Darkseid, go for this one. If you like extra detail, sculpture design, and so forth, go for this one. They both look good, but to me, the one I honestly prefer, this one. That light blue and just a classic looking design, and of course the Omega beams on the head, on the eyes, excuse me, definitely pop. Here we have Kalibok next to Darkseid. They're both mega figs, and here's a perfect example where I can tell some people may not like the height. It might be an issue because, look, Kalibok, great looking figure. It's more modern, I get it, but look at the height, right? They're almost identical in height. I would say Kalibok is a bit, a smudge taller, just a little bit, but Darkseid should be taller, right? And so, again, classic looking, I get it. It's more classic Darkseid, but you get what I'm saying though overall. And for $40 though, I do see where you get more value for money on this one, because look at the detail, right? Look at the headpiece, the design, the sculpture, everything about it. So much going on for $40, and definitely this feels cheaper. This definitely feels hollow compared to this one. So if you have Kalibok and you want to know like how does it feel in terms of the upper torso, in terms of the hollowness, this one feels cheaper compared to this one. If both of these fail off the shelf, I have a feeling this one might crack before this one does. But nonetheless, here we have two mega figs, Darkseid classic next to Kalibok, more modern. Here we have Lex Luthor with the armor suit next to Metallo. As I mentioned, this figure is going to be of a kit bash or use some parts from this particular version of Lex Luthor. So some of the things that are very, very similar, one is going to be the legs. Look at that leg detail, right? Sculpture design. They're pretty much identical, but there is some differences. Look at the abdomen, right? Obviously the chest as well too. Also the logo. Also to around the neck, right? You can see that this one has it up around his neck. Looks like a vampire. The shoulders, well too. Also, it's going to be the forearms, right? This is more round. Boom. Right, look at the forearms, right? So there is some differences, and so I can't really hate on McFarlane, because I know some people want to say, oh my god, McFarlane just reuses everything, just color paints, which is true, but he does add some extra paint here and there, or he does change it up a little bit. Look at the back of the upper body. It's also different as well too, so small difference. And so yeah, just wanted to show you that yes, there are some similarities of this figure to, well, this one right here. But nonetheless, Lex Luthor, Metallo. Here we have Brainiac. This is going to be Brainiac from the Superman Page Punchers wave. This is going to be the Platinum Edition one, which I did an overview of the regular one. And I got lucky, I got the Platinum one. But anyways, just wanted to show you another villain for Superman. We got Brainiac. But like I said in the video for this particular figure, or not this one, but the Page Punchers wave, it's a cool Brainiac, but I see he's more of like his, his robots, right? Not so much of Brainiac itself. The headpiece, yes, but the body itself is kind of like, I can't really see this being a Brainiac. But nonetheless, two Superman villains, Metallo and Brainiac. Here we have Doomsday, which I believe it's from, what storyline is it from? Superman and Batman? I can't remember the storyline. But anyway, it's going to be Doomsday, the Mega Fig, next to, of course, Darkseid, Metallo. As I mentioned, the height might be an issue for some, in which I completely understand, right? But at the same time, I understand why you get a lot of value for money with this particular Megafig, because yes, the height's shorter compared to another Megafig. Look at this one. This is taller than this one, right? But look at all the detail and sculpture and then the paint for 40 bucks. So it kind of balances out in a way. It's like you get a shorter figure, more plain looking in terms of the torso and the legs, but you get some extra accessories. So you can't really hate on McFarlane for that. And of course, you have Metallo on here, which, yes, he's definitely small compared to these two Megafigs. But nonetheless, Doomsday next to Metallo and Darkseid. And of course, as we're talking about Superman villains, you gotta bring in Superman. It's gonna be Superman. I believe it's a classic. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I got this figure. But here we have Superman. Nice looking, clean looking Superman figure. It's not your over-the-top, bulky Superman. It's just a nice, good, classic-looking Superman. I do like that light blue paint. Something about that light blue paint, it's growing on me. It's growing on me just a little bit. But here we have him next to Metallo. In terms of the height, Metallo is taller. And of course, compared to Darkseid, this one's a lot taller. And I think these two work very well. These two, yeah, Superman's shorter. These two work very well in terms of the height. So there's that. But nonetheless, more classic-looking Superman next to classic-looking Darkseid and modern Metallo. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with these figures? Do you plan on purchasing these figures? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. This includes an overview of the Megafig Classic Darkseid next to Metallo Target exclusive gold label figure. And on to the next one.